Hello and welcome everybody. Happy Friday. We've made it to the end of another week, another earnings week. It is earnings season right now with lots of companies coming out with their 2021 results. So we've been following that closely. But for today, it is Sectors Made Simple, or more specifically, Spreadsheets Made Simple time. We're here with part 4 of our Spreadsheets Made Simpler series, in which we talk about Excel and Google Sheets and how you can use Excel and Google Sheets to invest a little simpler, but not just investing. Google Sheets and Excel are programs that you can use with anything. Anything that has either numbers or words and isn't just, a page or is a Word document. You can use Excel to get more information out of and create either nice visualizations in the form of graphs or analysis in the form of things like moving averages, sums, and all of that. So today, we're picking up where we left off last time, which was we were talking about how to take a formula and copy that formula across a whole column or row. So today, to get started, we are going to review what we talked about last time, then we'll go over the homework, and then lastly, well, not even lastly, then we'll get into the action. So let me say hello to everyone who we have with us today. Lots of people are here ready to go. We have Elizabeth, Blaze, Marta, Euro, Chela, Eddie, Yorceli, Kira, Consuelo, my mom, Sunshine, Josefina, Adelita, Andrew, Melly, Kike, Nancy, Daniel, Danny, Miguel, Maria, and Martin, Magnolia, Nancy, Yorceli, I got you, Sortero, JP, Flora, and Romulo, and Jose and Cesar. Lots of people today, both returning and new. Welcome. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Let's get to the action. So, if we head right over here, we have Spreadsheets Made Simple Part 4. So today we're going to review a little bit of what we talked about last time, which is copying formulas. So when we're copying a formula, what we can do is we're going to do the same thing, the same math equation over and over. And copying it takes a lot of time, but also creates a lot of room for error. You can mess up. Anytime you're doing something, there's a teeny tiny chance that you do it wrong. Not us, we're all perfect here, right? But there's always a chance. So to make it easier, what we can do is we can copy formulas. And to do that, we select the cell, so we just click on the cell, and you'll see a little blue box around it. Or in Excel, you'll see a little green box. Then you can click and hold on the square in the bottom right and drag either down or to the left or right. So up or down or left or right to copy the formula. And that's it. So the way that copying a formula works is really, really cool because when you copy a formula, any cells that you reference will change. So for example, if you're copying up and down and you were talking about right here, cell A1. Then what you will see is when you copy that formula down, the letter, the column won't change because we're going up and down. The number will. So the number is going to change following going down. Same thing with left and right. The formula's column letter will change as we go left to right. So if we started with A1, we would see A1, A2, A3, or sorry, my apologies, A1, B1, B2, C1, D1. Apparently letters and numbers are difficult. This is why I like spreadsheets, because I'm terrible with letters and numbers outside of that. But anyway, the nice thing about this is it lets us change our formula, but if this is only referenced cells that will change. if we have the number, say, 50, it won't change. Only the reference cells will. But there is an exception to that I want to show you really quickly. Because say it's not just references that will change. Say we have the number 1, 2, and 3. And I can highlight all of these and then drag down. And what it's going to do is it's smart. It figures that what I'm trying to do is 1, 2, 3. So it guesses 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. It's really smart at trying to figure out what you're doing. And the same thing works if we want to go every 2. We'll see that that will go every 2. And it even works with dates. Let's go to my birthday, and then the day after my birthday. It will understand that I'm now talking about a date, so what will happen is it'll switch over to December. Same thing, we don't even need to go every day. We can go every 3 days. And if we copy that, you'll see every 3 days it will skip. So this is incredibly useful for taking one tiny bit of work that you do and making it go all the way through, both formulas and dates or any sort of repeating number. So that is a really, really nice feature that both Excel and Google Sheets offer. But what happens if we don't want that number to change? What happens if we want it to just stay? We can do that by using our favorite symbol, the $sign. So sometimes you don't want the formula to change. You want to just keep this one point right there. You don't want that to change. So you can do what's called locking a cell by adding a $sign before the letter and or the number. So putting a $sign before the letter locks the column so that the left and right will never change. The up and down will. Or we can put a $sign in front of the row. So now, if we go left and right, the letter will change, but if we go up and down, the number will not. If we want to lock both, which means I want this one cell never change. Don't you ever change. You're perfect the way you are. You put a $sign before the row and the column. If you don't feel like typing that, there is a shortcut key for it, F4, but I typically just write it. I just put in the $signs. So what does this actually let us do? This lets us do a number of different equations, but one of the most important for investing is percent change. Because when you're looking at a stock's price, yes, the dollar value is important because when you go to buy your share, that's how much you're going to pay. But what's also important is the percent change. It's not the dollars that change, it's how much it's changing compared to its price. Just like a $5 price change on a $500 stock, it's not much. A $5 change on a $10 stock, all right, now we're looking at some GameStop level numbers. That's 50% change. And the equation is pretty simple. It's just take the new price, subtract the old price, divide it by the old price. And in spreadsheets, we can do this with one cell, or we can break it up into 2. So we're only really going to talk about, well, I'll show you both options, but for the homework, I just wanted you to do one of them, the 2-cell method. So how do you actually do this? If we remember our formula, new minus old divided by old. And we can do this in all one cell, which we need to use some parentheses because we want to do the subtraction first. New minus old needs to come first. So we can do that pretty easily by putting these two little parentheses around our math. So the parentheses will be done first. So we do new minus old. After we've gotten our answer, we then divide it by the old price. The other option is we can do it in two cells, where cell number 1 is new minus old, and then cell 2 is we reference the first cell and divide it by the old. Again, for the homework, we did option 2. With that said, let us go and let's take a look at the homework together. Hopefully everyone was able to get their answer. My name is now Juan de los Palotes, and we're going to go through and do this together. So, question 2 is asking you to do percent change. So what we're going to do is I've already given you the price change. That was cell 1, remember? New minus old. That is the price change. To do a percent change, we need to take cell 1, which is this cell right here. Oh, let me grab my handy dandy tool. This cell right there, we're going to take that and we're going to divide it by the old price right here. So it ends up being our cell for the price change divided by the close price. And Google Sheets is smart. It knows that we want to copy that formula. And hey, it's a correct answer. Let's now go on to question 3, which is asking, in the space to the right, so right here, please find the average percent return. Remember from lesson 2 that average is equals, we type the function average, and then we're going to go down, let me just hide these, there we go. We're going to go down here and we're going to take and drag across all of our percent changes. So we're finding the average of the percent change. We do that, we get another green box. We got the right answer. Last part. In this column, for the difference from the average, so we're now looking, let me do red. There's nothing on the sheet that's red. Right here. Please find the difference between the current percent change and the average. Remember, you need to lock the average cell. That's important. So I'm going to write the formula once because after we do it once, we can copy it. Remember, our goal here is not to work harder, it's to work simpler. So I'm going to go here, difference from the average. We're going to go percent change minus D12. And again, you can either press F4 so that we lock that cell, or you can type it in, $, $. And again, we can autofill, ta-da. So that is how you do the homework. It tests a couple of tricky things. It asks you to find the percent change. It asks you then to do the average of that percent change, and then use that average and the percent change. What is the name of the drawing tool? It is Web Paint. I'll grab you the link for it. I'll also put it down in the resources section if you're watching this video after. That is the tool that I use. So I want to point out one thing before we go here. Whenever you're doing a percent change, you need to have two numbers. new, and old. So for the first day, the first period, we can't do percent change because we need something old to compare it to. So the first day, we skip. After the first day, we can then start doing all of our good stuff. So that was the homework. If you still have any questions, please let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. But for everybody else, let's show you what you're going to learn today. So today we're going to talk about, we're not going to go crazy into the technical stuff like we did last time. Not so much. Today I want to teach you how to start using some of what you learned. And not just answering my questions in a spreadsheet. No, I want you to learn how to do something that you can benefit from. So today, that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you file types, what file types are, but more importantly, what file types we're going to use for spreadsheets, where we can find data for stocks, how to import that data into Excel, and because remember I told you that this class will cover both Google Sheets and Excel. This is one of those times that it's different between Excel and Google Sheets. So I will cover the difference between those two. And sadly, there's no worksheet today. It's not that I don't love you, it's just that it's hard to have you do something with this information that I just feed you. I would rather give you a project that's fun, interesting, and informative for you. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do something fun, interesting, and informative. So let's first start off by talking about file types. A file type is everything on a computer has a file type. It is like saying, I am a human. Cleo is a cat. They are what tell us what that thing is, but also gives us an idea of how it works. So any and all programs or files on your computer have what are called a file extension. And that extension tells the computer what kind of file it is, but more importantly, how do I open it? It's the reason that if you open up a Word document, it opens up the program Microsoft Word. It's the reason that if you open up a picture, it opens it in your Photos app. So a file will have its name, Juan de los Palotes, dot or period, and then whatever comes after the dot is the file extension. There are millions of different ones. I'm only going to cover some of the most common ones that you're going to see here. So images tend to be .png or .jpeg. Videos will be MP4s or .movs. There's some other ones, FLV, stuff like that, but these are two of the most common ones. Programs will be a .exe, but spreadsheets, the ones we care about, are .xlsx, which is an Excel file, and .csv, which is a sheet file. And I'll talk about both of those in a little bit more detail. But this is going to go a little off course here, but it's very important because while I'm talking about file extensions, I really want to take a moment here and remind everyone about this. Many of you should already know about this, but I want to make sure everyone's familiar because I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it while I'm talking about file extensions, which is your internet security, your computer security. Understanding file types is incredibly important when it comes to staying safe on the internet because people can send you dangerous files or viruses that will do a whole number of different things. Some of them may hold your entire computer for ransom. Some of them are going to steal your passwords. Other ones may even just steal your computer, where they can log onto your computer and use your computer for anything they want without you even knowing they're doing it. But that's a future topic. That's not what I want to cover today. Today, I just want to mention two of the file types to be careful of, as well as a little bit of just, because I just hopefully scared a few of you into, whoa, well, I don't pay attention to that. Well, let me just help make your mind at ease with what I say on the next slide. But let's just get right to it. I'm going to stop beating around the bush. .exe are program files. These are the most common types of files for viruses because a program runs stuff. What does it run? I don't know. I'm not a programmer. Even a programmer may not know what that program does if they didn't write it. So, in general, don't open any exe files without knowing where it came from. And now you may be saying, well, I have family members. My dad, for example, he loves sending me photos, articles, videos, but scammers know this. Hackers know this. And there's a lot of viruses that will pretend to be my dad and email me from my dad's email account saying, hey, check out this video. And the video is funnyvideo.exe. If I didn't know any better and I click on that, boom, my computer's hacked, and now my email is sending that same video to everybody else. This sounds crazy, but it happens much more frequently than you would think. If you're curious about this, there's some viruses, MyDoom and WannaCry, that have happened in the past, that the result of those was billions of dollars because it spreads. And it spreads because it pretends to be a family member. And we let our guard down with our family. The second type is very rare. It is a .xlsm. It is a spreadsheet file that contains what is called a macro. A macro is a mini program that you can put inside of an Excel spreadsheet. But in my personal experiences, I've never seen an XLSM. So it's likely that you won't have to, or you shouldn't either. But there is a very nasty virus that's going around right now, like today, that is a XLSM. It emails pretending to be a family member. They email you this file and they say, open it, let me know what you think. When you open it, boom, your computer is now hacked. You are now sending that same file to all of your friends and contacts in your emails. That is a hack happening today. So while these are the most common types of viruses, any file type can have a virus in it. If a hacker knows what they're doing, a virus can look like anything, a photo, a video. So the most important thing is if you get a file from someone and you aren't expecting it, if they don't call you on the phone and say, hey, I'm sending you this cool picture, don't download it. Call them and make sure that what they are sending you is correct, or that they are the real person sending it. And lastly, the best way to stay safe on the internet is two things. One, use common sense. You're not going to give your money to the guy on the street that has the 3 little cups and a ball under it. You know you're going to lose. Computers have some security built in, and if you use common sense, you don't go to websites you're not supposed to, you don't download random files that people send you, you're going to be fine. Simple as that. But the other one is double check any file before you download it. Did Tío Juan de los Palotes really send me a program? Why would he send me a program? And if you didn't ask for that file, call them on the phone. Just double check that they are the ones that are sending you it. And lastly, if you're really not sure, there is a website called virustotal.com that if there's a file that you don't know if it's a real file or not, You can go to virustotal.com. You can upload that file, or you can even give it a URL for that file. And what it will do is it will look at that file and tell you if that file is a virus or not. Is it perfect? No. But it's better than nothing. And if it is a virus, what it will do is instead of just destroying it, it then sends that virus to a bunch of people whose job it is to find viruses and find the cure for them. So VirusTotal not only protects you, but you're also giving information to experts so that they can protect someone else. Kike is asking, is this on any type of devices, cell phones or tablets? So usually a virus is going after a specific type of device. So people used to say, Macs are unhackable, Macs are perfect, they can't get viruses. That's a lie. The reason that they couldn't get viruses is because most viruses target Windows computers. But nowadays, viruses, they don't care if it's a Windows or a Mac. They'll work on both. Other viruses will work on your cell phone, but it's a little harder to download a file on your cell phone. Most people aren't downloading .exe. Like exe does not work on a phone. So they need to create a whole different virus for it. There are mobile viruses, but you're never going to run into them. You're never going to see them. There's no money to be made in a cell phone, really. All right, if you have more questions or anything like that, I'm not a cybersecurity expert. I'm not going to pretend to be, but I do spend a lot of time on the internet, and I do take security very seriously, so you're always free to message me or ask me any questions you have. But I want to go back to spreadsheets, because this is spreadsheets made simpler, all right? So now I've scared all of you, and we've talked about file types. Let's talk about spreadsheets, all right? When working with spreadsheets, let's go back to the two file types that we'll see, CSV and XLSX. When you want to download data, the data will typically be a CSV. Very, 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 very rarely you'll see an XLSX. 99.99% of the time, CSV. So let's talk about these two file types and their differences. So CSVs, let's cover this one first. It stands for, the letters each mean something, comma, separated values. And they are incredibly simple. That is why they are so usable. It is not something that needs a special program. You can open it in anything. And to show you that, everyone on their computers should have a program called Notepad. So if I go here and I right click, this is a CSV, and I can go to open with Notepad. Ta-da! It can read it. It looks like information. It looks like numbers and, well, prices. So you can see a CSV in a notepad, in any text editor. It is nothing but text and numbers. And then a way of saying where one line starts and the next one where one line ends and the next one starts. And they use what's called a delimiter, And this is how the computer knows where to make all of the lines, both up and down and left and right. It uses a delimiter to say this is where it ends, this is where the next one starts. And they're typically just a little comma, but they can be anything, colon, apostrophe, whatever. There's all different types. But what this ends up being is a sheet. It is one single table of information. And this information can be put into Excel or Google Sheets. And again, it only has numbers and letters. If we write formulas, Those are gone. It doesn't know what math is. It just knows what letters and numbers are. That's it. So again, we can open this in anything. It is nothing but text. So we can open it in Word. We can open it in Notepad. We can look at it in any program. And what it will show you is it will show you each row as, well, a row. And then it will show each column separated by our commas. So we see that the first row is date, next close, next straight line. Then below we have our first row. Date, price, price, price. Next, next, next. So it's put together very, very neatly. And it's why it's the most common type. It's a file that anything can use. Now, let's move on to XLSX files. Actually, Kike is asking a good question. What about VPNs? What do they do or help, if anything? VPNs, what they do is, for example, if I want to talk to Kira, I'll turn around and I'll say, hey, Kira, blah, 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 blah. But she knows that it's me talking to her. If I go and talk to my neighbor and I say to my neighbor, hey, can you tell Kira, blah, 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 blah. And then my neighbor says, hey, blah, 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 blah. That's how a VPN works. Instead of Kira knowing that I said that, she doesn't know who told my neighbor, but she knows that my neighbor told her. So it's a way of pretending to be somewhere else or someone else so that if you're doing things on the internet, it's not you. There's no way of tracking down you. Because if you have what's called an IP address, it's essentially a address, like your home address on the internet. If someone has that, they can trace it back to you. A VPN hides that. But really, unless there's some real reason that you're using a VPN, like you are in China or you are in a country like Canada and you can't get a specific movie on Netflix because Canadian Netflix sucks, by the way. That's the only time that VPNs are worth it. Besides that, if you don't know what you're doing with cybersecurity and digital security, it's not going to do anything for you, because the minute you log into your Facebook account from that VPN, boom, they now know who you are. The minute you access your email, boom, they now know who you are. So a VPN is a great tool, but the weakest part of a VPN is the same thing as the weakest part of any digital security: the people. We're the biggest security risk of our own digital security. That's why I was saying common sense, 99.9% of the deal. All right, SLSX files. These, think about it like this. If a CSV is one page, then an SLSX is the whole book. A SLSX file are Excel files that contain multiple pages. So, for example, let's look here at our homework workbook that we have. Down here in the bottom left, you can see lessons 1, 2, and 3. These are our sheets. These are our pages in a book. So you can click here and see the homework from lesson 2. You can click here and see the homework from lesson 1. So that is how a sheet versus a book looks. And these files cannot be opened in a text editor because they're not just text. They have formulas. They have stuff. You want to see something really funny? This is what happens if you try and open an SLSX file in Notepad. Anyone speak ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics? So that is an SLSX file type. So these are useful because they don't just contain letters, numbers. They can contain letters, numbers, formulas, graphs. It knows the difference between $1 and it knows the difference between $5 and the number 5 and the 5%. It has context. These SLSX files also do not need to be imported. We can just open them because they're Excel files. Where I showed you that this is the whatever Swahili looking thing here, but if we go back and instead we just go to Open with Excel, we now see that it actually imports properly. So that is the reason we like these Excel files, is that they let us share everything, not just the numbers, not just the letters, the formulas, the entire cookbook. Now, how do we import data? How do we actually bring in stuff to use? So now we know what a file type is. We know what a CSV is. Let's talk about how to bring that CSV from the magic of the internet down to our computer. So importing is another word for saying, let's take data that we get from somewhere, and we're going to put it into a program for us to use. There are many different ways of importing data, but we're going to cover some of the most simple today. Well, the most simple. Downloading a CSV and putting it into our spreadsheet program. So, let's do it. The easiest place to download stock data for me is Finance Yahoo. Simple, easy. We talked about it last Tuesday in our members webinar where we talked about different charting websites. And so if we go to Finance Yahoo, we can search for a ticker and then go to historical data. And here we get 3 options. The time period, from when to when do we want our information? For show, we just want historical prices. We don't care about splits. We don't care about dividends. We just want everything. And then, how often? How often do we want the data? Usually we're going to want it daily, but you can also get weekly or monthly if you're working with a lot of years. And then pressing apply will give us a table of what is called OHLCV stock data. I will break that down here in a moment, what that means. Right now, OHLCV. Ta-da! We can press download and we get that CSV. First person to tell me a stock ends up getting their stock used as the example for today's webinar, go. What stock do you all want to see? What stock are we interested in? Any takers? Tesla. All right, there we go. Sometimes the stream delay is really difficult. All right, so up in the top, all we do, we type in Tesla. Ah. And then we come down here to historical data. And here are those options I was talking about. Time period is from what day to what day. It defaults to 1 year. You can go 5 years, but we're just going to go 1 year for right now. Show historical prices, yes. Frequency, we're just going to say daily. Hit apply. And now this is our OHLCV data. We have our open, high, low, close, and volume. And if we click here on download, ta-da! We now have just downloaded a CSV. If we open that CSV, oh hey, that's a CSV. But let's go now and let me just do this in a separate window. We don't want to open it in that. We want to open it in Excel. Ta-da! We just got the stock data for Tesla for the past year. That's it. So now that we have that, what can we do with it? Well, let's make sure we know what we just got. OHLCV stands for open, high, low, close, and volume. It is one of the most common types of stock data that we'll find. Open, the O, is the price that the security started the period at. I'll use this word period quite a bit. Period just means the day, the week, the month, whatever the kind of tick of time is. Second, but you're not ever going to work with second data. That's crazy. High is the highest price that the security reached in the past period. Low is the lowest price the security reached. Then the close is the price that the security ended the period at. So open, where it started, high, low, close. And then the volume are the amount of shares that were traded in that period. And sometimes, like with the data that we just got from Finance Yahoo, we will have two close prices, close and adjusted close. Close is if we hopped in our handy dandy time machine and went back in time, it would be the closing price that we saw for that stock. Adjusted close includes stock splits and dividends and other value that doesn't affect the price of the stock but does change the value. And because of that, close will typically be slightly higher than adjusted close. But let's now look at importing that spreadsheet that we just got. Or sorry, that CSV we just got. So can I download the S&P from January up to today? Yes, I can. So I'll do this nice and slow. So we go up to the top here and we type in whatever we want to download. So we're going to do SPY. We then want to click down here on historical data. Once we are on historical data, we can change the time period. So for this, let's get the last 5 years. So we click on time period, and then we can choose how long we want. I'm just going to click 5Y, which gives us the 5 years, from May 27, 2016 to May 27, 2021. I'm not going to change anything else. You hit apply, and now you can download. And if I open this, here is our SPY prices for the past 5 years. So now let's look at how we would bring that data into Excel. For bringing data into Excel, we can follow some pretty simple steps. First, we want to go and create a new spreadsheet. Then we click Data up in the top left and click From Text or CSV. We'll go and do this together really quickly. File, New. Now up here in the top left on the menu, there is an option that says Data. We click on Data, and also in the top left, we have From Text to CSV. We click there, and it now asks us to find our file. So we go to wherever our file is. Mine is in Sectors Made Simple Presentations, so on and so forth. Yours will probably be in your Downloads folder. So you can probably find it in your Downloads folder. So we're going to click here on the file, and we're going to double click. It's now going to give us this scary looking thing. What this is it's asking you some information. What it's asking is, how do I turn this text into a sheet? It needs your help. What it's asking you is, what is the delimiter? Remember, we talked about the delimiter is how it knows where one thing starts and the other one ends. Up here in the middle, you see the option for the type of delimiter. In this case, we're just going to do comma, because that's what it is. It then shows you in this area below what it will look like. So comma was the correct answer. Let's see what the incorrect answer would look like so we know what to avoid. Oh, this isn't what we want. There's only one column. The column is un poco feo. So we can figure out what's going on here. If we look closely, and I wish that there was a way I could make this bigger, I can't, I'm sorry. There's all of those little commas. That's not what we want to see. That's ugly. Here. We have all of these commas, right? So we know that it is a comma delimiter. So what we need to tell it is, it's not a colon, it's a comma. And when we do that, ta-da! We now have all of our different columns. We have date, sounds about right. We have close, cool. Straight line, if you were here for last week, you know what that is. And then this other unnamed column. Now all we need to do is click load down in the bottom right. Ta-da! There is your table of data. So let's review it one more time. You go to File, New, Blank Workbook. Up in the top left, we click on Data. Then From Text or CSV. We choose what we want. You may need to go to your Downloads folder to find it, if you just downloaded it. I'm going to click on NVIDIA data, which is what I want to bring in. Oh wait, no, we want Tesla, don't we? Let's grab Tesla. And again, this is comma delimited. So we'll see our correct columns, our date, open, high, low, close, adjusted close, and volume. Everything looks perfect. What doesn't look perfect is this. This looks perfect because it's comma delimited. 99.99% of the time, comma delimited is what it will be. So we click load. Ta-da, you're done. So that is, it's a lot, but again, we'll step through it. Make a new spreadsheet, click data, then from text to CSV. It will bring up a screen to show you what the data will look like. And on that screen, we want to make sure the delimiter is set to a comma. If everything looks correct and we can see the data, click load and we're off to the races. If not, it will tell us what's going on. We'll see what the real delimiter is so we can correct it. That's a lot, right? So wait till you see it in Google Sheets. If we're opening at .slsx, it's pretty crazy, all right? Bear with me here. You go to File, Open, then, sorry, just want to make sure that nothing bad would come up. We go here to Upload, and from Upload, we can go and we can drag in our SLSX file, if it will. Oh, because I am a silly goose. I know what's going on here. File and then Open. We just want to find the file. So we're going to go here to Excel webinar files, and we should be able to open this. Ta-da! We now have our workbook. So that is an SLSX file. For our CSV, same process. We can go to File, Import, go here to Upload, and same thing. We go and we select our file. So we'll do Tesla. And the nice thing about this is we don't even need to do anything. You just click Import Data, and it does everything for you. You click Open Now. Ta-da. If you had just a blank worksheet, it's even easier. So again, File, Import. We go here to Upload, and you can find the file that you want to bring in. You click Open, Import. Everything is done for you. Google's smart. They know what's going on. So now we have stock data. Now we can do a whole bunch of fun stuff with it, right? We can do all of what we did for lesson 3. Let's do it really quickly. So we'll do a price change where we will go here and we're going to find, remember, price change, you can't do the first one. So we're going to start with the second one, and we're going to go the close minus the previous close. So this is our, let me turn this into dollars and cents. This is the price change that day. We can double click to copy the formula. Let's now undo the same thing, but we're going to do our percent change. So here is our new minus our old close price. We can now do the same thing we did for the homework, where we take our price change and we divide it by the old price. this should be a percentage, and we copy that down. So we now have data that we just brought. Then we have our price change, and we have our percent change. The last thing we can do is we can find the average percent change. And the average percent change was 0.65% per day. So I went pretty fast right there, but this all is stuff that we learned in lesson 3. The only new thing is, instead of me giving you the data, you went and you got the data. Here, all I'm doing is I'm using the close price. Jonathan, is not the same copy on Yahoo and paste on Google Sheet. It's better to download a CSV, because if you copy and paste, you may get a bunch of other stuff, and I don't know how well it will work. I've always just downloaded the CSV, so I get the data how I want it. So again, what we've done is we've imported data, and then we use the close price to find our percent, or our dollar change, and our percent change. If you want a refresher on how to do that, take a look at lesson number 3, where the homework for that is teaching you how to do this price change and percent change. And then lastly, we have our average percent change right here. That is about it. So what does this let us do? This lets us import data, real data, not my worksheets, not my examples, real world data, and use things that we've learned in our previous classes. And we just did this example. So your homework is to do what I just did. Go find a company that you're interested in. Download the last year worth of data, or however long you want. Import it into either Excel or Google Sheets, and find the percent change and average percent change of it. Again, if you would like help, or if you want to review the homework from last time to practice this, I will post the link for that homework right now in chat. The only thing you need to do is go File and make a copy so that you can do the homework for yourself. But that is today's topic. That is today's presentation, and that is how you can start to take your control over what data you use and what you can do with it. Josefina, which one is better to use, Google Sheets or Excel? I have Excel because I've used it for graphs. I find that it's much better to make graphs with. But Google Sheets, it's faster, it's easier, it's free, it's available on desktop and Mac. But most importantly, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. Like, I just showed you how to download a CSV, but I don't even need a CSV. I can actually, using a formula, I can say, hey, Google, go to this website for me and grab this number out of that website. And it will go...
Sorry, I don't understand.
He's listening to me. Hey, so-and-so, can you go and can you get me this website? It can. Google Sheets is connected to the internet. It lets you use the internet to do stuff. So because of that, I like Google Sheets much more than I do Excel. But I do have Excel because if I need to make graphs, the graphing in Excel is a lot more friendly and a lot more powerful. So For anything you're learning in these classes, just use Google Sheets. I promise you, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. It's a lot faster. It's free. So yeah, I recommend it. Blaze, it is not raining here. It is 70 degrees and sunny. And then lastly, Jose is asking, when I'm done the homework, how can I send it to you? You can send me an email at support@sectorsmadesimple.com, or you can share the file with me you can share it with this email. Ta-da! If you share it with that email, I can also look at it. So, there you have it. Good luck. Have fun. Please, if you have any questions, if you're not sure about anything, email me. I am here to help you to make sure that you understand all of this. Because next week is the last week for the Spreadsheets Made Simple series. I know it's gone so fast. But don't worry. This is only the beginning of what I have to share with you all. After we finish this free class series, I will be doing an advanced 2-month-long webinar series in which I will teach you almost everything that I know about Excel. I will teach you how to make creative graphs. I will teach you how to look up data in a table. I will teach you how to go and grab information from a website that doesn't give you a CSV. I will teach you everything that I know to make creating a watch list, your own watch list, that much simpler. So if you're interested about that, stay tuned, where next week I will have a little bit of a preview about what you get to learn about in that class series. But until then, thank you all so much for joining us here at Sectors Made Simple for another Spreadsheets Made Simple webinar. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Have a great 3-day weekend, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.